Hey everyone, it's Carolyn. Welcome to the channel. Today I have another collective reading for you. And for today's collective reading, we're focusing on how you can better protect yourself, stand up for yourself, and speak up for yourself. And so if you feel like this is a message you're drawn to watch, definitely continue to do so. If not, I'm going to have other videos linked in the cards above that you can watch instead. I want to say if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. I would love to have you a part of this family. And make sure you turn on that bell notification so you don't miss out when I post my next video. I post multiple videos every single week, including more collective readings like this. I also post pick-a-pile readings and zodiac readings along with other educational videos to help you all in your spiritual journeys. And if you want to get your own private in-depth reading, I do sell them. You can check out my Etsy shop or you can message me on Facebook or Instagram. Everything's going to be linked in the description box down below. So getting into today's message, I went ahead and I pulled your cards. So you have the 8 of Cups, 7 of Swords, the Fool, 9 of Swords, 9 of Wands reversed, 6 of Swords, 10 of Wheels reversed, and then you have relationships. I'm going to take a moment to rearrange these cards so you can see them a bit better. So what I'm sensing for you, I love the fact you have the Fool card here, because to me what this is indicating is that this is a message that Spirit is wanting you to allow yourself to act on things more, allow yourself to do more things, allow yourself to actually wipe the slate clean. This is a message about how can you better protect yourself and stand up for yourself. And so to have the 8 of Cups, the 8 of Cups is saying do not be afraid to walk away. Do not be afraid to know what you want and go for what you want. And if you see that something is not working out how you thought it would, don't be afraid to let it go, walk away. I feel like a lot of you, it's like you're holding on to things in your life that truly don't matter. You're holding on to things in your life that you know are done. You know they are not working. You know that they're not good for you, but yet you're holding on to them for the sake of holding on to them. And I feel like this is your wake-up call, being like, you are hurting yourself. You don't get a medal, you don't win prizes for holding on to things that you no longer want. Maybe you feel like you're doing it because of another person in your life or because of what society wants for you, but really you are hurting yourself and you're not winning anything from that besides what other people perceive you to have. And so all of that is based on the way that others look at you and their validation of you. And so it's like you're doing all these things either because of other people in your life or because of the way society is, but it's like you're not doing any of these things for you because you would have been long gone. You would have let go of this. And so it's like when it comes to protecting yourself, you have to have boundaries that you set up, that you stick to. And it doesn't matter how it looks from the outside. It matters how you feel. And so it's like you have to put yourself first. This is the 8 of Cups. The Cups is emotions. And so if you're not in tune with your emotions, if you're not listening to what your emotions are telling you, you're going to be completely out of sync and you're going to end up causing more issues for you. I'm not saying, and Spirit's not saying, that walking away, setting these boundaries is easy, but it is necessary to protect yourself. If you don't do it, you're not protecting yourself. You could be protecting your image, you could be protecting others, you could be protecting these things that you think you want, but you're not protecting yourself. And then you have the 7 of Swords. The 7 of Swords is an energy in which someone is coming into your life and kind of taking from you. There's some level of betrayal. And so to me, this 7 of Swords is saying, be alert. Be alert in your life. If you're trying to protect yourself, you can't do it if you are not reading the writing on the wall. And I keep going back to this energy of it's like you are not admitting when it's time to walk away from things. There's this energy of deniability. And so it's like because you are not being alert, you're not being observant in your own life, you're not in tune with your own emotions, you are not seeing when things are not working. You're not paying attention to it. You are letting people literally rob you blindly. And it's not material things. This is like they're emotionally taking from you. And it's like some of these people, it's like it's not even like these are bad people in your life. Some people in your life, it's like they are just not meant for you and you're holding on to them, or you're holding on to these things, these opportunities that is not bringing this emotional fulfillment to you anymore. And instead of checking in with yourself and being aware of that and being like, you know what, something feels off, instead of listening to your intuition, you are ignoring it. And so I feel like that's why you're being given this message. Spirit's saying this feeling that you have that you don't want to do this thing anymore, it's not coming out of a place of you trying to sabotage it. It's not coming from a place of you trying to ruin things. It's coming from a place of unhappiness. And you denying that you're unhappy and trying to convince yourself you are, or trying to convince yourself you need to hold on to this, or trying to convince yourself that things are going to change, that they're going to get better when they haven't. that is only you hurting yourself and not doing what's right for you. And I'm not saying that you can't work on things, you can't fix things, but what I'm saying is this specific instance, think about how long you've been trying to make this work for. It's not an issue of you trying to put more effort in, or you trying to fix it, or you trying to hold on to it. It's nothing to do with what you are trying to do and how much hard work you're putting into it, and everything to do with the fact it is simply not going to work out no matter how hard you try, because either there's other people who aren't doing their part, or it's not in sync with what you want. And so you can try and fix things all you want, you can try and mend things all you want. If you're not emotionally fulfilled by something, there's always going to be that seed of doubt in your mind. And so it's like sometimes you have to accept that every time you want something, you don't always get it. And it doesn't mean it's good for you. And sometimes you have to let go of things that you want, and it's a bittersweet moment, but it's for the betterment of yourself and also anyone else who's involved in this. Because if you can't give it your all, if you are emotionally blocked from putting your all into this, then everyone deserves to go and find someone else or some other situation that's going to actually be emotionally fulfilling. Because if you can't be emotional fulfilling to yourself, you can't be meeting this other person's needs either. And so when it comes to protecting yourself, it's like you have to start accepting the truth of things. You have to actually accept where you're at with things, what's going on, what your intuition is telling you, what your emotions are telling you, and you have to allow that to help you figure out where to go and what you want to do. And like I said, you have this fool's energy, wiping the slate clean, really moving forward, going and taking a risk, doing things that are out of your comfort zone, but doing it in a way because it's like you were starting over. You were freeing yourself with the thing that's not working, and now you are starting something new where you don't know exactly what you're going towards, but you know you are allowing a change to happen that's to the betterment of yourself. And I'm also sensing with this Nine of Swords, it's like you have this energy where you are so afraid of being afraid. You are so upset with yourself when you have concerns, when you have worries, when you have any doubts or insecurities. And what you're being told from Spirit is to stop beating yourself up when you're afraid. I think you think that fear and allowing yourself to be afraid is hurting you and is not protecting you. But sometimes fear does protect you. It can be planting these seeds of intuition saying, hey, something's not right here. But also, even for things that maybe you're afraid of them, but you still are meant to do them, and it's more like you are a little bit apprehensive, you don't know which way it's gonna go, you're nervous. It's like that fear isn't a bad thing. Fear isn't the thing that's hurting you, but telling yourself you can't be afraid is hurting you, because it's teaching yourself that anytime you're afraid, you have to push it down. You can't feel those emotions, you can't process them, you can't even figure out where that fear is coming from, because fear is bad. And so now you're not figuring out where that fear is coming from, if it's a place of insecurity, self-doubt, or if it's a place of actual worrisome concerns that you do need to address. And so it's like you can't protect yourself if you never allow yourself to investigate. And I think this is true even with the Seven of Swords here. It's like when you have to accept the truth of things, you have to investigate, you have to be analytical, you have to collect data, you have to see what's actually going on in front of you. And so it's like when it comes to the things in life that you're afraid of, don't push down that fear. Allow yourself to understand it, and then based on what you understand from it is then how you decide to act. And so it's like, as long as you're not acting on the fear itself, you are allowed to understand it and look at it and feel it. That's not the bad thing. The bad thing is when you feel the fear, you accept the fear, and it's coming from a place that isn't actually backed up in anything that's actually going on around you, and it is something that's stemming from a place of insecurity or the what ifs or just these negative feelings that don't have any merit to them, but you're just feeling them, and then you act on them. Because when it's an internal fear, when it's something that is stemming from you and not the things going on around you, you have to be smart about how you approach it, because you don't want to be self-sabotaging. And so you have to really allow yourself to sit with this fear, and instead of reacting to it, that's when bad things happen. When you actually sit, when you actually start to pinpoint where it's stemming from in you that is feeling this way, you can then start to heal it. You can start to work on inner blocks that you have, and then through some time, through some effort, really understanding yourself, doing the shadow work, or some of you even doing therapy, once you work on these fears, then you were able to understand, okay, I broken down the fear, I know what the root cause of it is. Now, is this still something that I want to walk away from, or is this something that it's an insecurity but I'm working on it and now I feel good to go with it? And so I feel like Spirit's telling you, don't be afraid to be afraid. Being afraid is okay. It's how you act on it and make sure you're acting smartly with it, that you're not reacting with the fear, that you're actually sitting with it, you're analyzing it, you're understanding it, and then you're allowing this period of fear to act as reflection period for you to make bigger decisions in your life, for you to actually understand what is triggering things and see what is actually meant for you to do versus what is something you need to give it some more time and thought. But I feel like you do need to come up with better coping techniques when you are afraid, because I feel like right now it's like you're trying to push it down. That's not doing you any good. That's not helping you in any way. And that's what Spirit wanted to draw to your attention with the Nine of Swords, is that fear is not bad. It's just an emotion. And just like any other emotion, we feel them. And so denying that you're feeling it isn't going to help you. You have to accept that you're feeling it. You have to face the truth of that. But then allow yourself to be logical with how you react based on your feelings. Everything in life is about being mindful. And so just make sure that you're acting mindfully and you're going to be okay. It's when you're reactive that there can be more issues in your life. And then you have this Nine of Wands reversed. And so to me, this is indicating like sometimes it's better to not have a filter. Sometimes it's better to just say what's on your mind and get things off your chest and just say what you want, admit what you want, and accept where you're at with that. So it's like, I feel like a lot of you, it's like you keep this filter on your mouth and you don't express what you want, or when you say it, it's like you say it as a joke, you're not taking it seriously. I feel like Spirit really wants you to accept what you want. Again, this goes back to this Seven of Swords energy of accepting the reality of things and not being in denial anymore. I feel like the way you protect yourself is by just accepting everything in life. So accepting what a current situation is doing to you, accepting what you want out of life, accepting where you're at with life. Because when you accept that, then you know what you're working with, you know where you're at, and you know where you want to be. And then you're able to navigate it in a smart way, which brings us to the Six of Swords, which is forward movement. This is progress. This is going towards things. And so it's about actually allowing yourself to take steps forward instead of denying where you're at and living in limbo. You are setting boundaries in your life and allowing them to navigate you forward. And then going into this Ten of Wheels reversed. The Ten of Wheels is like this family dynamic, this home life, this stability, this foundation, this structure. And so to have the Ten of Wheels reversed, it's indicating to me, some of you have to understand it is okay to walk away from things that others deem as perfect. Going back to this Eight of Cups energy, it is okay to walk away when things are not working, even if it seems like it should be working. I feel like those of you who are watching this, you really need to set boundaries in your life and you need to enforce them. And if people are not going to listen to your boundaries, you have to have consequences for it. And so what you really need to do in your life right now in order to protect yourself, you need to create a list of boundaries, things that are very important to you. It doesn't have to be a big list, but just start with like maybe 5 or 10 things, like things that are really important to you and that you don't want people doing, or these are things that you want people to change and actually do for you. But these are kind of like your list of the top things in your life right now that you need from other people. You need them to respect these boundaries and you need them to listen to them. And then after you make this list, I need you to come up with a consequence for what is going to happen when people don't respect this boundary. And have it correlate to what this boundary is in some way. So for example, let's say that someone is not respecting your privacy in your own house. Let's say that you have a family member who comes over all the time and they're very nosy, they go through your things, and they are not respecting your privacy to things. The consequence could be that you are going to tell them to do this maybe 3 times. It's how many times you're okay with reminding them about it. And then after talking to them about it for 3 times, you find them doing this again. Then the consequence could be that they're no longer invited to your house. And so it's about correlating this action and what consequence. And then, like I said, allow yourself to express this to the people in your life. Let them know your boundaries. Let them know what's up, because sometimes people have different boundaries than us. And so things that they think is okay, that they wouldn't care if someone did to them, you wouldn't like if they did it to you. So give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Talk to them about this boundary at least 1 time. Tell people what your boundaries are. But then moving forward, figure out how many times you're okay with reminding them, and then what the final straw is going to be, and then what that consequence is going to be. And allow yourself to enforce these boundaries, because I really feel like that's what you need to do, because you'll have relationships. I call in the intimate power of love to take over this union in every way. May it now fully belong to the divine. Let it unfold in the perfect way for each of us. I need and fear letting go of control. My needs are always abundantly met. And so it's like when it comes to relationships in your life, regardless if this is coworkers, friends, family members, loved ones, this is an energy telling you like it is okay to set boundaries in the relationships in your life. It's okay to have these standards. It's okay to have the things that you are not okay with, and it's okay to let that be known, because when it comes to the relationships in your life, you cannot be afraid of a boundary pushing someone away, because if you're afraid of that boundary pushing them away, you're not going to enforce that boundary. You're not going to protect yourself, and therefore, because you're so afraid of losing this person from your life, you will give up your own protection for them. And that's where I feel like that is where this imbalance is coming from. That's where you're not protecting yourself, because you are letting this person take from you. They're taking your protection away from you. And I feel like it's really important for you to set these boundaries to teach yourself your own worthiness, because when you let people overstep boundaries and push your comfort zone and do things that you don't want them to do, and you still say yes and you make exceptions for them, that subconsciously teaches yourself you're not worth protecting, you're not worthy of things, you're not deserving of things, because you won't even enforce your own standards of things. And so if you won't enforce your own standards of things, who will? Because the person who's taken from you won't. And even if you had someone else in your life telling you, hey, you need to do XYZ, if you don't enforce it, you still allow this person to take from you. So it's like you can't truly protect yourself if you are not the first line of defense, if you're not setting these boundaries, if you're not setting a consequence for these boundaries being crossed. And so I really feel like the whole point of this reading that Spirit really wants you to know is it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to cut people out. It's okay to be the bad guy or be perceived as the bad guy when you are protecting yourself, because you're not going out of your way to hurt someone. If they can't respect your boundary, and they want to throw a fit and get upset when they get a consequence of their own action, that's not on you. First of all, you warned them. Second of all, your boundaries are worth respecting. And third of all, their sense of happiness and entitlement and success in life should not come at the expense of all those things for you. If someone is so upset by the boundaries that you set to the point where they can't respect them, and then they want to get upset when you're giving them a consequence to it, that does not have anything to do with you and everything to do with them. Because if they were someone where they actually loved and cared about you, they would have no issues respecting your boundaries. Now, it's not to say that there won't be accidental times where people slip up or they cross the line. And everyone makes mistakes, so that's okay. No one's going to be 100% perfect with your boundaries 100% of the time. But what it comes down to it is when you then remind them of the boundary or you tell them the consequence, they are going to feel bad about it. They're going to apologize. They're going to want to fix it. They're not going to make you feel like the bad guy for setting the boundaries. And so it's like if you have someone who's constantly overstepping boundaries and getting upset at the consequences, and they're going to leave your life, let them leave your life. That's not the energy you need. And so again, it goes to this energy of being mindful. Again, not reacting on the fear, but being mindful in your life where, you have the mindfulness to know if it's someone actually stepping over your boundaries because they don't care about you, or if it's someone where they are really good to you, they really love you, they really support you, it was just a one-time mistake, they feel really bad about it, and you can move on from it. It's like, allow yourself to protect yourself, but know when you don't need to be so guarded. Allow yourself to understand the truth of the situation. Allow yourself to collect the data, is what I'm being told for you. Allow yourself to realize if it's actually a situation that's not bringing you emotional fulfillment, or if it's a situation where it's like, yeah, this situation sucks, but we can get past it. We both are actually really good at communicating. We're really good at respecting one another, and it was just some sort of issue, maybe someone mixed things up, maybe someone misunderstood things, but it's not the end of the world. Going forward, this won't really happen again. And so with that, it's like you're still protecting yourself, but you're also understanding that everyone's human and people deserve grace. You also deserve grace. But I feel like this message is meant to tell you it's it is okay to see the writing on the wall and collect that data. Start to analyze people in your life. Start to analyze the dynamics in your life where you understand patterns and you remember patterns and you watch, you calculate, you know what you're going to take from people. That's why I had you write out the consequence to it, so that this way when someone crosses that boundary, it's not in that moment you have to think of what to do. You already planned for this. You already made a roadmap. So now you're just following things of the rules that you already made for yourself in your life. And by doing that, it's like you allow yourself to protect yourself, but you also allow yourself to not be so emotional in the moment where you do something you regret or you act in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense for that consequence. Either isn't a big enough consequence and it makes this person feel like, yeah, I can keep doing it because I don't care about this consequence, but you also make it where the consequence isn't so extreme that you end up hurting yourself more in the process. Because not everyone in your life is going to be deserved to cut out. Some people in your life, they're going to be too important for you to want to cut them out. But there's other consequences you can do to try and teach them their lessons, but also bring balance in your life for you. Because maybe this is also someone in your life where it's like, yeah, they shouldn't be in your life, but maybe they're family, maybe they're someone who's really important to you, and so you can't cut them out completely, but you're going to limit your time with them. And so again, it goes back to this energy of finding what's best for you, making sure that the consequence matches their action, but also is something that you are okay with, because if you're not okay with this consequence, you're never going to enforce it. And so this is something when it comes to protecting yourself, you got to take it one step at a time. And sometimes that means taking it in baby steps, but really allow yourself to take more action and control in your life to actively protect yourself. And quit thinking that everyone's going to have your best interest at heart, and quit thinking that you can't protect yourself because it's going to cause too many issues. Because like I said, if there are issues that are caused, it's not your fault and it's necessary. And if people don't understand it, good riddance. But I really feel like Spirit wanted you to watch this message because it is very important that you start protecting yourself at this time. It's super important you start setting these boundaries and you start actually having these breakthroughs in your life where you see the truth of the situation. You're not making excuses, you're not living in denial anymore, and you allow yourself to start over and clean the slate when you understand it, where you're not afraid to walk away and you're not afraid to set consequences. Like you were putting yourself first for once. That is something you've been neglecting to do for a really long time, and it's time to change that. You're the only one who can protect yourself, and so you need to start doing it. And it's not easy, but it's necessary, and you're going to see that the relationships that you hold on to that stay in your life, when you allow yourself to start protecting yourself, those are going to grow even stronger, and people are going to be super proud of you. And so if the relationships don't survive you protecting yourself, it was not a relationship worth having in your life. And this goes even for like people you don't know that well, maybe they're acquaintances, maybe they're coworkers, where it's like, yes, this person's not that important to you, but it's that little bit of stress you were removing from your life, or you were distancing out of your life where it's not affecting you nearly as much. So literally do this with everyone in your life. Doesn't matter how well you know them. Have these boundaries for everyone you encounter. And so I really hope that this resonates for you. I hope this helps you out. If it did, let me know in the YouTube comments down below. Also give this video a big thumbs up and share with others who need to hear it. If you want to leave a donation, it's always greatly appreciated, but you never have to. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. I would love to have you a part of this family. And I'm going to have more videos linked in the cards above for you to watch next. And I can't wait to see you all in my next video. I hope you have a good one. Bye.